Hello everyone, I go by the name Adam and I've designed an Arduino project that moves a cursor X on an LCD using four push buttons, that's left, right, up and down. So this project is going to demonstrate how to interact with an LCD with using four basic controls. Let's set the video. Okay, so now let's explain the code. So we have over here hash include liquid crystal itc.h. So over here, this line is a library which allows you to control an LCD display that uses the ITC communication protocol. So this library simplifies the process of interfacing with the LCD by handling the communication over ITC. So we move on to the next line and we have liquid crystal ITC LCD. Open brackets, we have 0 times 27, 16, and 2. So this line over here creates an instance of the LCD, of the liquid crystal I2C, class named LCD. So the parameters, that's the 0 times 27, 16, and 2, are going to specify the I2C address of the LCD. That's commonly the 0 times 27. So the number of columns we have 16 and the number of rows that's 2 of the display. So we move on to the next one, that's the button pins. So on the button pins we have constants, up button, down button, left button, right button, and we have 6, 10, 11, and 9 assigned to each button. So this line defines the constants for the button pins. So each button, up, down, left, right, is connected to a specific digital pin on the Arduino. So the constant type ensures that these values remain constant throughout the program. So now we move on to the cursor position variables. The cursor position variables, we have int x, int y, and we have 0, 0 attached to them. So these variables, that's the x and y, represent the current position of the cursor on the LCD. So the initial position is set to the top left corner of the display 0, 0. Okay, so now we move on to the void setup function. And the void setup function is called once when the program starts. So it initializes the LCD, clears any previous content, sets the cursor to the initial position, and prints an X at that position. And we have under the last part, we have LCD backlight. So over here, the function is going to turn on the backlight of the LCD. So we have play mode, we have up button, down button, left button, right button, and each contains input pull-up. So it simply means that this function is going to set the button pins as inputs with an internal pull-up resistor. So it means that the pins will read high when not pressed and low when pressed. So so we move on to the void loop function. And the while loop function is going to run continuously after the setup function. So it is going to check the state of each button. And over here we have if digital read up button and that of down button and that of left button and that of right button. So over here the first one means that if the up button is pressed and the cursor is not at the top row, it moves the cursor up. The second one also states that if the down button is pressed and the cursor is not at the top button row, it moves the cursor down. The third one also states that if the left button is pressed and the cursor is not at the leftmost column, it moves the cursor left. And the last one means that if the right button is pressed and the cursor is not at the rightmost column, it moves the cursor right. So over here we have delay 200, and this function introduces a short pause to prevent multiple readings from a single button press. So now we move on to the latter part of the code. We have void move cursor, and then we have the LCD set cursor, the LCD print, we have XY, we have LCD set cursor, and lastly we have LCD print X. So this code over here, or let's say this function, is going to update the cursor's position on the LCD. So it is going to take the new X and Y coordinates as parameters So it first clears the old position by setting the cursor to the previous coordinates and printing a space. And then the updates, that's the x and y variables, sorry, and then it updates the x and y variables to the new coordinates and prints x at the new position. So in summary, this code creates a simple interface for moving a cursor represented by x on a 16 times 2 LCD display using 4 buttons. So over here we have our Arduino elements, we have the breadboard, we have our buttons, we have the Arduino Uno, and we have the LCD screen. So when you run the code, the LCD screen, it lights up and it shows a single character, that's X, on the LCD screen. So the X in this LCD screen represents the movable cursor or the marker on the 16 times 2 LCD display. So when any of the 4 buttons, that's the up, down, left, right is pressed, the X moves in that direction on the screen. So now let's try it. So we have, I press the down and it moved. I press the up, it moved. I press the left, it moved. And I press the right, it moved. And we need to know that it doesn't move beyond the screen boundaries. And there is a slight delay after each movement, that's 200 milliseconds, to prevent fast or multiple unintended moves from a single press. And we need to know that lastly, if no button is pressed, the X stays in its current position and the display remains unchanged. Thank you.